hear all that again.
Recording.
Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to today's walkthrough of That Clean Life. My name is Abigail, and this is Ashley.
Hi guys, I'm Ashley. I'm the growth lead here and professional record button hitter.
Yeah. So if you're watching the replay of this, the reason why we're laughing is because we forgot to hit record and we're saying the same thing we just said all over again. But anyways, we caught it early and we're good to go. So as I was saying, the thing that makes our webinar super fun is the interaction. So when you guys ask us questions and go back and forth, that's a lot of fun. You can talk to each other. This is a really great community of wellness and health professionals. So what I want you to do is open up the chat box down at the bottom of Zoom, and you'll see a little blue box and it says 2, and I want you to change that to all panelists and attendees. And this way, when you guys talk, we can hear it and you can also hear each other, because by default, it's set on all panelists. And so only we get your questions and nobody else can see what you're asking. And then it looks funny when we answer them. So go ahead and change that setting. And when you've done that, say hello to us in the chat box so we know who's tuning in today. We see lots of you here. So please don't be shy. Say hello. We'd love hearing from you guys. Okay, amazing. That chat box is lighting up. Keep it coming, guys. Let's talk about the purpose of today's webinar while you're all saying hello. So if you guys have been around That Clean Life for a while, you probably know that we do a lot of focused webinars on meal planning for the low histamine diet or meal planning for the plant-based diet. But we rarely just kind of take a general approach and take you right into That Clean Life and kind of, a less focused approach, I should say. So we did that. I think it was in middle of March. We did just a general walkthrough of That Clean Life, and the feedback from you guys was amazing. So this is really a chance for you guys to ask your questions and see what That Clean Life is all about if you're new here. So whether you're already a member of That Clean Life or you're just here to kind of check it out, I guarantee that we're going to show you a lot today. We're also going to share some ideas of how you can use That Clean Life to grow your business, to support your clients, and even attract new clients right now. So that's pretty exciting. So before we dive into things, I would love to know how many of you guys are currently members of That Clean Life. If you are, type member into the chat box. And how many of you guys are just kind of interested in That Clean Life? If that's you, type interested in the chat box, and then we can get a better sense of who's here. Okay, I see a lot of interested, member, interested. Okay, so it looks like we have a pretty even split, which is great. Like I said, if you're a member, you're gonna still learn new things today. And if you're interested in learning more, we're gonna give you a full tour. So we're really excited about this. We have some great content lined up for you guys today. So I'm going to turn things over to Ashley right away so she can take you right into That Clean Life and we can get this party started.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to fire up my screen share, and if you guys can just let me know if you can see everything okay.
Looks good to me.
Beautiful. So I saw lots and lots of new faces or new names, new friends in the chat box. So for those of you guys who have never checked out That Clean Life before, welcome. I'm super excited to take you through. And for those of you guys who are already members, every time we do these walkthroughs, we always hear from members that there's little features, little hacks, little tips that they weren't aware of that they were super grateful to learn. So I'm really excited for all the people who came out today. So first thing you need to know about That Clean Life is that we are a practitioner-facing meal planning platform. So if you are brand new to us, that's what we're all about. So everything that I'm about to show you, only you are going to see. This is not something that your clients are going to see. This is not their process. This is your workflow. So when you first sign up for That Clean Life, the very first thing that you're going to do is input all of your business info. So the setup wizard walks you through everything. It's really easy. The whole process takes maybe like 1 minute, maybe 2 minutes. And once you do this, it's done forever. So the first thing that you're going to do is upload your business logo. If you don't have one yet, I know I saw a few new grads in the chat box. Congrats, guys. If you don't have your logo set up yet, no worries. You don't have to have one. You can just put in your company name in that case, or just your name if you're a solo practitioner, and your email address, website, and you can also select a brand color or a theme color, which will be used throughout the resources that you're going to be giving your clients, just to give it that extra little personalized, well-branded touch. And once that's done, that's saved forever. So from now on, automatically, everything that you export from that Clean Life, every recipe you download, every meal plan you send your client is going to be branded with your business information. This is the number one question that I get from anyone who's interested in signing up for that Clean Life is, can I put my logo on things? And the answer is yes. And also we do it for you. So you don't have to put your logo on anything. It's automatic. Okay, so next thing that I want to show you guys is our recipe database. So this is like, I think we can say by now, Abigail, this is like the pride and joy of that Clean Life. So I think, I'm not 100% sure about this, but I think we are the only meal planning software that actually creates all of our own recipes. So 100% of these recipes are designed, tested, and photographed right here at that Clean Life by our amazing team of recipe developers. And there are tons to choose from. Our philosophy when it comes to food is that it should be simple and fun, and just use whole basic ingredients that anyone can find at a regular grocery store. So you'll find a lot of recipes that fit that criteria, but also we're designing recipes for every different diet type, every type of client. So whether you're working with, you know, vegan clients, or you have a more low fat approach, if you're working with cardiovascular patients, for example, and you want a lot of low fat plant-based recipes, we've got you covered. If you're working with autoimmune clients, if you're working with a ketogenic or grain-free diet, we've got you covered. And those are the polls. We also cover everything in between. And of course, we make it really easy to find what you're looking for by tagging all of our recipes. So if you're looking for vegan recipes, if you're looking for paleo recipes, breakfast recipes, lunch recipes, dinner recipes, common food sensitivities like eggs, gluten, dairy, soy, nightshades, we've got you covered for all that stuff as well. We even do more complex diets, low histamine, low lectin, low FODMAP, all that good stuff. And with all of that said, so you've got tons of recipes, over 1,700 today to choose from, tons of ways to sort through them, but you also have the option of making any modifications that you would like to any recipe. So if you find something that almost works, but not quite, then you can make changes to those recipes. So for example, in this recipe, this is a plant-based recipe, got a good source of protein here from the tempeh. You can take a look at the nutrition information and see what's actually going on. So maybe you see that this recipe is a little high in carbs for your client, and it's obvious why, because the base of this recipe is brown rice. So you can really easily make a change to this recipe. I'm going to show you guys how in like 30 seconds we can swap it out for cauliflower rice. So you just make a copy of the recipe. I might call this one with cauli rice, just so I remember what changes I make to it, and so my client knows what they're eating. That's always fun. And then instead of using brown rice in this recipe, I'm just going to edit this ingredient, and I'm going to change it to cauliflower rice. Now you're going to see that this is measured in cups, and it was 3/4 of a cup of brown rice. I think that rice like triples or quadruples when it cooks, and I'm not that worried about my client eating too much cauliflower. So I'm just going to say 4 cups of cauliflower rice. That seems like a good amount to me. I'm going to remove the dry/uncooked and edit that ingredient. And keep an eye on the right-hand side here. We were at 68 grams of carbs, and automatically when you make changes to a recipe, the nutrition information updates. So we just bumped that down to 38 grams of carbs, increased the fiber, and overall this recipe is just looking a little bit more balanced for my client. If you're modifying a recipe, I also recommend that you double check the instructions, because there are probably going to be references to the ingredient that you changed in those instructions. So here, all I'm going to do is delete that direction to cook the brown rice. And I'm just going to add a little note in step 4 saying divide the cauliflower rice. And that's it. So instead of regular rice, we're using cauliflower rice, and it's that easy. And when I save this recipe, it's going to be saved forever in my private recipe box. So the original version of that recipe will still exist. If I ever have a client who needs that brown rice, that's going to be there for them. But I'm also going to have this cauliflower rice version saved forever, so I don't need to do this every time I want to give a cauliflower rice version of this recipe to my client.
I'm going to interrupt you there, Ash. Somebody is asking if you can filter by more than one tag. So I was hoping we could flip back to the tags real quick and show how you could do multiple tags. If you have a client with like multiple food sensitivities or foods they need to avoid, if we could show that kind of thing in action.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I am definitely not done with tags. So there's so much going on with tags, guys. Tags and filters in general. So now that you know a little bit about how our recipes work, the fact that you can change them, let's really dive deep into how we can sort through this recipe database and find exactly what you're looking for. So I'm going to give you a couple of different maybe like fake case studies of potential clients that you might see in your practice, from something a little bit more basic to something a little bit more complex. So the tags are just one small piece of how we allow you guys to search through recipes. We also allow you to search through recipes based on how much time they take. So, everyone loves a good 20-minute meal. You can search for a 20-minute meal, 5 ingredients or less. That's always fun. I have a whole cookbook of recipes that are 5 minutes or less, 20 ingredients, and I find that really helpful. So you don't have to photocopy pages of cookbooks anymore, guys. We've got you covered. You can just search for that. You can also search for recipes that include specific ingredients. So for example, if you're talking to your client about omegas and they're plant-based, you could maybe look for recipes that contain hemp seeds to give them an example of how to incorporate more of those into their diet, or how to exclude ingredients. So maybe there's something like hemp seeds, for example, that they cannot eat, but that's not covered by one of our regular tags. You can add that in here. Now you can fill this up as much as you want. So for example, you could look for breakfast recipes that are vegetarian and egg free, that exclude, I don't know, maybe your client has a sensitivity to cinnamon. Let's just say there's no cinnamon in these recipes, and that take 30 minutes or less to make. So you can stack as many of these on top of each other as you like, and we'll filter those recipes, and now we have a bunch to choose from. But that is not where things end. So in addition to all of those tags, ingredients that you can include or exclude, I'm going to reset this and show you guys a second way that you can filter through our recipes, and that's using nutrition information. So you can also search for recipes based on how many calories they contain, their macros, carbs, fat, protein, things like fiber, how much cholesterol, sodium, down to the little micro minerals, if you want to look for selenium or zinc or magnesium. If you've got an anemic client and you're looking for recipes that are high in iron, there are tons of different ways that you can use these nutrition filters. Pretty much there is no case that you wouldn't be able to figure out find what you're looking for really easily. And you can stack the nutrition filters on top of the tags. So let's say you're looking for a breakfast recipe. Maybe you've got a client who has PCOS. So let's say you're looking for a breakfast recipe, which is dairy-free. And this client has told you that they're like stopping at Starbucks getting muffins in the morning. This is not somebody who's getting the right nutrients at breakfast. So you want them having a higher protein start to the day, keep their blood sugar a little more stable, and a little bit more fiber, again, to stabilize their blood sugar, and magnesium. There's a lot of different ways that you can look at PCOS, but I think we can all agree that protein and magnesium are pretty important. So now we're going to filter, and all of these breakfast recipes, I went really high with the magnesium. I'm looking for recipes that are over 150 milligrams, which is really excessive, but even then we've got 17 recipes to choose from. So you've got this client maybe like in your office with you, or you're on the call with them, and they just expressed to you that they're having an issue with breakfast. You can do this while you're talking to a client, guys. This is how easy it is. So you just popped in high protein, high fiber, high magnesium breakfast recipes. And right now, while you're talking to this client, or just after you hung up the phone with them, you can create a whole personalized recipe book of breakfast ideas for them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a collection. I'm going to start with this recipe. This is like a grain-free breakfast porridge kind of recipe. As always, you can see a photo of the recipe, how long it takes to make, how many ingredients it's got. Check out the nutrition information, make any changes if you want to make changes to the recipe. And then I'm going to add it to a collection. So a collection is just a way to group together recipes that you're going to send to a client, or use as a lead magnet, or create a recipe book rather than a meal plan. So I've already started a collection of PCOS friendly breakfast ideas for this client, and I'm going to add it. And if I hadn't started one, then all I have to do is click create collection, title my collection, and I can start adding recipes right away. And all of this is automatically saved for you. So you never have to remember to save anything. As soon as I add recipes, the system knows to save that. And let's say I'm scrolling through the recipes and I see a couple more that I want to add. This black bean, sweet potato, and eggs looks good. Maybe a couple smoothie ideas for this client. And then I can head over to the collections page and you can see all of the high protein, high magnesium breakfast ideas that I put together. And now I'm going to send this to my client. So it's really, really simple, a great way to give your client something really actionable right away so that they're not just trying to remember what you said, but they actually have a way to implement it. So what I'm going to do here is just export that collection. So I'm going to send my client the recipes. You can include the nutrition information if you want to. You can add a cover page if you want to. I definitely recommend doing that. And you can add a little note for your client. So you can write whatever you want in here. For example, if you weren't using this with an actual one-on-one client, if you were using this as a lead magnet and your lead magnet was PCOS friendly breakfast ideas, you would want to write a whole introduction to who you are and why you're the expert in PCOS, and maybe a link to how they can learn more about you and how you support women with PCOS. Maybe like quotes from successful clients that you've had, testimonials. Put as much info here as you want. If you're using this with a client, we have some snippets. So for those of you guys who are members, if you're not using snippets, listen up, because this is one of our biggest time-saving features. If you're writing the same things over and over again to your clients, you can save them as snippets. And then we also have some that are saved already in that Clean Life. So I'm going to use one of our preloaded recipe book introductions. So I'm going to apply that. And this is just going to introduce my client to the concept of a recipe book and give them some tips on how to use the recipes. And you can make little customizations. So maybe on the next pages, you will find a collection of delicious PCOS friendly recipes. And you might want to put some information about how they can contact you or anything like that. As always, you can customize things as much as you want. And then what your client is actually going to see with this recipe book is, so we've got this cover page. If you remember at the beginning, I uploaded my logo, business information. So all of that is already automatically added to this recipe book. We've got the introduction that I wrote for my client, and then it gets straight into those recipes. And what your client sees is that bright, beautiful food photo. Everything's branded with your logo, which is awesome, because if they share this recipe with someone in their PCOS support group, for example, then they're basically advertising your business for you to your ideal clients, which is awesome. And they'll see the ingredients, directions. Nutrition, guys, is always optional. I just like to include it whenever I do the walkthrough so you can see the full power of that Clean Life. But if that's not something you would want your clients to see, absolutely no worries there. Okay, so that was how I could create a basic recipe book really quickly. There are two ways that our members use that Clean Life the most: recipe books and, of course, meal plans. We're a meal planning software. So I'm going to show you guys now how to actually create a meal plan. And if you wanted to, you could create a meal plan based on nutrition information. So I just showed you that example where I was looking for recipes that were like high in protein and magnesium, and breakfast recipes, but otherwise anything kind of goes. If I wanted to get really specific for a client and start creating a meal plan for somebody who had, for example, come to me with specific macros from their trainer, or if that's something you do in your business, maybe you're telling your clients to eat within a certain caloric or macro range, I could do that too. So I could set the calories to be per meal. So what I usually do is, you know what you need the client to eat in a day, and you know how many meals you're recommending, so you break it down by meal. So I'm going to say that per meal, maybe between 450 and 600 recipe or calories per recipe, and I want them to have a minimum of 25 grams of protein. So if I'm giving them 3 meals a day, that's going to be at least 75 grams of protein, but in this case, I'm okay if they go over that, so I'm just going to say 25 plus. For carbs, maybe you want to set a range, or you might want to set like a maximum. So maybe 45 or 30 grams to 55 grams, with 45 being maybe the ideal that you want them to hit. And you could get as in-depth as you wanted to. For fat, let's just say maybe between 10 and 15 grams. And you can spend as much time putting in what your client needs as you want. And I'm just going to filter recipes based on that basic kind of macros that I want them to eat in a day. And then from here, I've got pretty much all of their dinner recipes for the week. So I'm going to start adding them to a meal plan. So I'm going to start a brand new plan. I'm going to call it maybe like Jesse's meal plan week 1. And I'm going to schedule this as dinner and add that recipe. So I'm going to hop over to the planner and actually show you how this looks. So I'm starting with dinners. When I'm meal planning, I guess it's just preference. Everyone does it different, but I like to start with dinners and work my way up, because dinners work really, really well as lunch the next day. So I'm going to say this recipe makes 2 servings, and I'm going to schedule it for dinner on one day and then lunch the next day. And the second day, I'm going to mark it as a leftover. So that's great, because that's going to let the client know that they can make a recipe one time, make enough for 2 meals, and then have leftovers the next day. And since I was able to get so many dinner recipes with this search, I'm just going to continue adding those in. Every time, I'm going to make sure that the recipe makes 2 servings, and I'm just going to repeat that. So 2 servings of each, dinner, and the same thing with this one. And then I'm going to show you one more time how I did that. So I've got the maple roasted carrots and chicken, and I'm going to schedule it the next day as a leftover. Okay, I won't repeat it for all of them, because I feel like you probably get the idea now. But one thing that you'll notice is, okay, so I had 4 recipes with that really specific criteria that I opened up. Another way that you can do this is you can combine recipes. So if you're trying to hit specific macro requirements, you can always schedule, I'm sure a lot of you guys do this already, like a meal and a side dish. So maybe a protein recipe and then a recipe that's got maybe like a starch and a veg together. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to leave the calories open this time, and I'm going to leave the carbs open this time, and I'm going to look for only recipes that are high in protein. And you could even get more specific and add a tag that you want, seafood. So I've already added quite a few chicken recipes to this meal plan, so now I'm going to add some fish recipes to this meal plan. And what I'm looking for here is something really basic, like this baked blackened salmon. So if you look at the nutrition information, you can see we've got our fat, we've got our protein, but we don't have our carbs. So I'm going to add this to my client's meal plan at dinner, 2 servings, because they're going to have it for lunch the next day. And then if I head to the planner, I can add a side dish. So I clicked into that recipe and then clicked on side, and I'm going to add those carbs in as a side. So we've got a couple of different options that come to mind right away. Brown rice, quinoa, sweet potatoes. You can totally decide what works best for your client. I'm going to look for a recipe that contains sweet potato. And I've got tons to choose from, but I think I'm going to go with sweet potato fries. There's also recipes that combine, for example, if I wanted them to have broccoli and rice, I could use broccoli and rice. So they've got their well-rounded, you know, like carb, protein, vegetable kind of meal. So I'll use that one for this example, just because I already clicked on it. And that's sort of how you can build out meals or meal plans based on nutrition information, because I know that this is a question that we get a lot. And I'm going to give you one more example when it comes to meal planning. I've already started this meal plan, so I'm going to open it up. Elimination diet. This is another really, really common question that we get is, can I use that Clean Life to make elimination diets? And you totally can. Elimination means different things to different people. We have an elimination tag. So if you wanted to start searching for recipes based on the elimination diet, Ours is pretty intense and probably covers everything you could ever possibly use for an elimination diet. So it's like dairy-free, egg-free, gluten-free, no nightshades, no added sugars, like a really intense elimination diet. But if you have criteria that you prefer to use, you can use that as well. And this time we're going to do it directly from the planner. So because I'm not building out a meal plan based on nutrition information, I'm just building out a meal plan based on an elimination diet, so ingredients that I want my client to exclude. I'm going to create a SMART plan. So I've already done this. I'll show you how it works. If you click on SMART next to recents, you can see the criteria that I put in for this plan. So for this client, their elimination diet is going to be dairy-free, egg-free, gluten-free, sugar-free, so no added sugars. And then I'm also going to have them take out like poultry and beef and, you know, lamb and all meat except fish. So I'm using the pescatarian tag here. And you can see that I've got 756 recipes to choose from. If I also wanted to add something like they can't have hemp seeds, you'll see the number of recipes you have to choose from is updating at the bottom right corner here. And then this comes together really quickly because when you click into an available meal slot, you're going to see the recipes that you have to choose from. So this is awesome. I've already started this one. So I've got a coconut chia seed yogurt for the first couple of days, which is like a meal prep type thing. And maybe I want them to have an oatmeal recipe later on in the week. So this mango oat smoothie is awesome. I've made it personally many times and highly recommend. I think it's one of our most popular smoothie recipes here at That Clean Life. So I'm going to have this client make one serving and I'm going to schedule it for Thursday and Friday. So maybe I'm doing this based on the knowledge that my client has really busy days on Thursday and Friday and it's the perfect day to just have a smoothie that they can grab and then go with them. And same thing on the weekend. So again, I can start with an idea of what I would want my client to eat. So maybe like a toast recipe or like a pancake recipe or something like that. I can search into the search bar, toast recipes, and see what I've got. So this almond, chia seed, and banana toast comes up. You can see the nutrition information is looking good for my client if I wanted to keep an eye on that. And I'm gonna add that recipe. Nutrition information for the entire plan is always calculating up at the top here. And if you want to view it in macros distribution ratio, so just the calories, carbs, fat, protein, you can do that as well if you just click the pie chart. So that information is always available for you, whether you're looking at just a recipe or you're actually building out a meal plan. And then you can see I've kind of taken the same approach as I took in the last meal plan of using my dinner for lunch the next day with leftovers. I've got some side dishes used here, and I would continue to build this out based on my client's preferences. So if I know they want a simple snack, all these recipes that are showing up here are already meeting the criteria that I input at the beginning. So if I just want something like an apple with maybe some almond butter or sunflower seed butter, I could select that and just continue building out the plan. And let's say I've wrapped this up, so it's time to get this to my client, and we're gonna follow the same steps to send a meal plan as we did to send a recipe book. So just like how we clicked export in the collection to give our client a recipe book, we're gonna click export in the meal plan to give our client a meal plan. And again, nutrition information is totally optional, but I'm going to include it just to show you how it looks. And I'm going to select a cover page again. And again, I'm going to add just a little note section for my client. And you can use this however you want. Maybe this time I'm going to include the meal plan introduction for my client. We'll add her name there because that's always a nice personalized touch to let your client know that this is specifically for them. And I'm also going to add the Dirty Dozen list. So we have this saved in That Clean Life, and I just think this is such a helpful thing to give to clients to let them know that if they are prioritizing buying organic, that there are certain foods that they could prioritize over others. So I'm adding in the Dirty Dozen list so that my clients can keep tabs on that. And then I have two options. I can either download this to my computer, or I can email it directly to my client. If you wanted to email it directly to them, you just pop in their email address there. And what the client is actually going to see is, again, kind of the same thing. So it's in PDF format, opens really beautifully on any of their devices. So if your client only uses their phone when they're at the grocery store, or only communicates with you on their phone, this opens really nicely like an ebook on their phone. And we've got the cover page, all the notes that I added for them, and then we've got the meal plan that I created for them. So this time it's laid out. We're telling them exactly what to eat, unlike a recipe book. So it's going to show them Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. They can see everything. The nutrition information, if you choose to include it for them. So if you're working with somebody on more of a macro-based diet, you might want them to see the nutrition information. You also might not want them to see it. So again, it's totally optional. And with a meal plan, unlike with a recipe book, your clients are going to get a detailed shopping list. So everything's itemized, it's laid out in the order of a typical grocery store. So this will save them a ton of time. I have somehow made it 30 minutes without talking about the pandemic, which is like a record, I think, for any of us. But during this time in particular, it is helpful to have anything that will get you through the grocery store fast. So this is a great way to save your clients a ton of time by giving them an itemized list, and they can just burn right through the grocery store, get what they need, and get out of there. And then, of course, all of the recipes. So they could print the recipes if they wanted to. They can just use them from their phone if they want to. A lot of people have iPads in the kitchen, so this opens really nicely on an iPad too if they're just using their iPad to look at recipes while they're in the kitchen. And just like with the recipe book, if they share a recipe with somebody, it's all branded with your business information. So that's really a much more effective way of marketing. Referrals are the best way to grow your business. So this increases the quality of those referrals, because it's not a name that they're going to forget or a business card that they're going to lose, but it's a recipe that they're going to look at over and over again and keep remembering you. And I think another thing that I should have mentioned earlier is when it comes to recipes, you can also add your own. So if you're building out a meal plan and you want to add a recipe that isn't in our database, or maybe your client has brought you one of their favorite recipes that they make all the time and they really want to include in their meal plans on an ongoing basis, you can head over to the recipe box, which is totally private. So whatever is in your recipe box is only in your recipe box. And you can add a recipe just like with any other recipe in that Clean Life. It will calculate nutrition information. So if they have a recipe for their, I don't know, family favorite chili, and it takes, let's say, 45 minutes to put together, and it makes 12 servings. When you start adding ingredients to this recipe, what's in chili? Kidney beans. We definitely have a ton of chili recipes in that Clean Life, by the way. This would just be if your client has like their specific chili recipe that they want to make, or if you have a famous chili recipe. So as soon as you start adding ingredients, you're going to see the nutrition information starts updating based on those 12 servings. You can add a photo. So if you do any recipe development on your own, or if your clients want you to add their recipes to their meal plans, that is also an option. Another really fun way that you can use this is if there's any branded food products that you want to use. So this comes up a lot too. So if there's, for example, a specific protein bar that you recommend often, or that you know that your client's going to be eating as a snack, you can add that protein bar. So you would just put whatever brand name. I'm just going to write protein bar. And we're going to say 1 bar. And then obviously this isn't in our recipe database, so I'm just going to create nutrition information for it. To do this, all you need is the label of the actual product. So you can Google it, you can always find it on their website. And I'm just going to pop in a little something here, just for example. So let's say my protein bar is 250 calories, 20 grams of protein. I'm going to save that. Now I've got this protein bar recipe, which is actually kind of not a recipe. And I can add it to my client's meal plan, and it will be included in their nutrition calculations for the day. So if I wanted to do that, I would go to the planner. I would type in protein bar. Oops, it might not fit my criteria because I didn't tag that recipe. So I'm going to remove these tags, guys. Or actually, here, this is easier. I'm just going to go to the protein bar recipe and I'm going to add it to my plan. So I'm going to add it to snack 1 on Tuesday. And then when I head back to that meal plan, you can see that it's added as snack 1 on Tuesday. And the most important thing that the reason I wanted to show this to you guys is because it's going to be on their shopping list. So on their shopping list under other, you're going to see now that they're going to have a certain number of protein bars on their shopping list. And when you export the meal plan, because you have the option of which recipes you want to include or not include, I'm going to deselect that protein bar recipe. So they're not just going to have a random recipe for a protein bar that is already made. So there's lots of different ways that you can use that Clean Life, including putting in pre-made foods like protein bars or restaurant meals. If your clients like to go out to eat, you can build meal plans based on macros or food intolerances or both. Kind of whatever the case is, you're going to be able to put something together for them. And yeah, I think how are we doing for questions?
I have a long list of questions for you. They've just been piling up. So I said in the chat box to everybody, I said, okay, I'm going to go through these questions at the end. So I've kind of made a note of the major ones. So okay. First things first, because a lot of questions are relating to our pre-made programs. So could you just take us into the programs tab and kind of give an overview of programs, I guess?
Yeah, totally. Okay, so I'm not sure how I missed this, guys, but we have like over 50 pre-made programs in that Clean Life. So even though I focused on all the awesome ways that you can create your own meal plans for clients and customized recipe books and all of that, we've also got a ton of options if you need something to use as a template to start from, or if you just need something to give to your client as a quick example, if they haven't paid for a meal plan or if that's not included with your base services. So in our programs tab, you'll find all of our pre-made programs, and we really have something for everyone. Especially lately, we've been working really hard to add a lot of awesome new programs. So we've got everything from like low histamine diets, paleo diets, vegan diets. We've got family-friendly stuff. We've got kid-friendly stuff, specific macros. We've got a 40-30-30 diet. So any meal plan that you might need to use as a reference, I think it's safe to say we've got most of them saved in here. And with our pre-made programs, let me open the family-friendly one because we just added this one and it's awesome because everyone is at home with their families right now. So you're gonna help a lot of people with a program like this. So just like how you can see with the meal plan that I built from scratch, we're using leftovers, all of these meals you can quickly understand why they're family friendly. We've got like chicken fingers, pastas, pizzas, and everything is already done for you. But of course, you have the ability to modify. So if you, for example, wanted to remove dairy from this program, you would just make a copy of it, go in, pull out all the recipes that contain like cheese or yogurt, and add alternative recipes that you think our client would like. When you're using our programs, you also get the super awesome added benefit of our prep guides. So the prep guides lay out everything that your client needs to do every single day in order to follow the meal plan, which is really, really helpful. So if they have trouble staying on track or tell you that they just get lost in the kitchen and don't have time, this will help eliminate those excuses. So every day they wake up in the morning, they can check their prep guide and see exactly what they need to do. Okay, these are the meals that I'm packing. This is what I'm making for dinner. If there's anything that they need to do to get that started, if it's a slow cooker recipe, for example, we'll put a note at the beginning of the day for them to start it so it's ready when they get home from work. And you can modify the prep guides too. So if you make any changes to the program, then you'll want to make changes to the prep guide. And also, this template, you can copy it to your own Google Drive and use it. So if you're doing custom meal planning for your clients, creating a prep guide for those meal plans is such a next level thing to help them stay on track. So you can definitely use our template to create custom prep guides for your own personalized meal plans too.
Okay, so that's awesome. That's the programs page. All the programs are listed there under the programs tab. That's where you're going to find the prep guides too. So with each program, you'll see it says view the plan or view the guide. You can click on guide to see the guide. I had a question somewhere along the line about an immune support program. Yes, we have an immune support program. And yes, we have a plant-based immune support program. Same with family friendly. Somebody was asking about family friendly and kid friendly actually. So we have a kid friendly program. And then we also, you guys are the first to know, it's going to be announced next week. We have up now the family friendly program and the plant-based family friendly program. And next week is going to be all about family friendly meal planning, because I know a lot of you guys are meal planning for families and it can be really hard. So next week we're tackling everything family friendly meal planning. So keep an eye out for that. The next question, Ashley, was filtering by cooking method. So somebody was asking if you can filter by things like the Instant Pot, slow cooker, and barbecue. And we have tags for all of that. So yeah, we have a slow cooker tag. Yes. We do have an Instant Pot tag, but we call it the pressure cooker. So if you want to find like Instant Pot recipes, just look for the word pressure cooker. And the last one was
barbecue.
Grilling. Yeah. So we do have a barbecue tag, which is really handy this time of year for those of you guys in North America and even Europe that are heading into the summer season. You know, giving your clients a grill-friendly plan that they can make when they're away camping or at cottages is really cool. So be sure to take advantage of those filters. Next was labels on the meal plan. So somebody was asking, sorry, I can't remember who, about the meal plans and the meal types. So all of the labels along the top that say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or along the side that say breakfast, snack one, whatever, those can all be customized. So you can use whatever you want there, or you can use our preset labels. So if you don't want to start the plan on a Monday, you can change that to like day one, like Ashley just showed there. And same with along the left-hand side, if you don't want to call it like snack one, you want to call it pre-workout, say, you can definitely add that as a label. Okay, so hopefully that answers that question. Whoever answered that, let me know in the chat if that helps. Next question, we had a few around logos. So you do, Ashley showed at the beginning, you upload your logo under your profile. If you're having trouble with your logo, feel free to email us at support@thatcleanlife.com. That's the best way we can help you optimize that, because Ashley showed her meal plan and it looks big and bright on her meal plans, and yours should look that way too. So if you're having any issues with that, send it to us. We can help you with that real fast. Next was adding notes to recipes. So Ashley showed you how you can customize recipes any way you'd like, but you can also add notes when you're doing that as well. So do you mind showing that real quick, Ashley? Because somebody was asking if you could add notes at the end of recipes, like to explain something.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so a good example would be like a basic sandwich type thing. So I've got gluten-free bread as my example. We always have notes with our recipes, so you can see the notes that we've already included with our recipe. But just like how you can change the ingredients or add ingredients or remove ingredients, you can do the same thing with notes. So I'm going to make a copy of this recipe. And then, so in a recipe like this, I mean, you can put whatever notes you want. I would maybe mention a brand recommendation for the gluten-free bread because there's a pretty wide variety out there. My client has some other sensitivities that I'm working with, right? So if I wanted to say bread recommendation, and maybe I'm recommending a specific brand like by Silver Hills, not sponsored, but maybe my client can't have eggs or something. So I'm adding a note to buy Silver Hills gluten-free bread specifically. So yes, you can absolutely add notes to your recipes.
Okay. And same goes with you can use the brief area too for notes. So if your note doesn't necessarily relate to a recipe and you just want to include some general advice, the brief is the best place for that. And that option comes up right before you export a plan. So whenever you click export on a plan, before you send it or export it as a PDF, you can put in whatever notes you want there and use our snippets too, which are really great. Okay, there was also the question, how often do you add new recipes? I believe Evie was asking that. So Evie, we add new recipes every week. Usually we sometimes take a break around holidays, but not too often. So those recipes, usually on Mondays or Tuesdays, you'll see the new recipes pop up. And yeah, so this is a living and breathing cookbook, we like to say. And I know you also asked Evie if recipes are ever removed to make room for new ones. And no, absolutely not. We don't remove recipes. We just keep adding them so that your database of recipes is constantly growing and you're constantly getting access to new ones. And this is really great for those of you guys who are running membership sites or meal planning for clients over weeks, or some of you guys even years. That is awesome because you're going to have constant new options. I think I started writing down a question. I didn't finish because I don't know what that one says. The next one is limit to number of clients. Is there a limit to the number of clients that you can meal plan for on that Clean Life? And no, you can create as many meal plans as you want. Under our membership, we do not penalize you for having lots of clients. That's awesome. Good for you. We don't charge based on how many meal plans you create or how many clients you have. Next question was about the replay. We are sending a replay for this webinar, so keep an eye for that. Ashley, I was wondering if you could show us how you copy a meal plan, because that question came up a few times.
Oh yeah, totally. So for example, I'm going to go into our programs and I'm going to open up one of our programs. So we'll open up the plant-based family-friendly program. Brand new, the first ones to see it. And if I wanted to make any changes to this recipe or to this meal plan, I'm going to have to make a copy of it, and it's really easy. I just push the copy button. You can rename it. So maybe I want this to be like for Abigail's family, and I'm going to just copy the plan, and boom. Now you've got a copy of a plan. So this is great if you have a meal plan you made for one client and you have another client with really similar needs as well, but you want to keep the original plan, you can just make a copy of it and start building a new plan.
Perfect. And then there was also a question from Jessica about how to modify our pre-made programs to make them like, say, 3 days or 5 days. And that's just a matter of, removing the recipes from the plan. So Ashley, real quick, could you just show us how to remove, say, Saturday and Sunday breakfast and kind of go through how that would look? Because it's very simple.
Yeah, so I've already copied this plan. That would be step 1. And then step 2 is just to remove the recipes that you don't want on the plan. If you're removing a recipe that's used multiple times, like I just did, I'm going to show you again with the snack. So you can actually just uncheck these 2 boxes and it'll remove both of them at once.
Amazing. Okay. Getting through your questions here, guys. Video tutorials. So we do have really awesome video tutorials that go more in depth. So Ashley clicked on your profile up in the top right-hand corner and then click on video tutorials, and we go through all of our features in a lot more detail for you there. So if you're ever stuck, check those out. Okay, so I want to kind of pivot. I know we didn't get to some of your questions, but if we have time, we can circle back. And if we don't, you guys can always email us at support@thatcleanlife.com and we can help you out there. But I want to circle back on how to use that Clean Life to grow your business. Because when you invest in any software, and we're going to go over pricing in a little bit here too, for those of you guys who aren't members, when you invest in software, it's important to kind of take a step back and consider, how is this going to get me a return on my investment? So let's talk about some ways that you can use that Clean Life to get more clients, to support your current clients, and keep attracting those and keep growing your business and introduce different revenue streams. So we are going to go through some ideas. These are ways that we've seen that Clean Life members use that Clean Life to get massive returns on investments, to grow their business up to 6 times. So tune in if you're looking for how to really use those now. So first things first is you can use that Clean Life to run a group nutrition program. So one of the hardest parts about running a group program is actually creating the materials for your group program. But when you have that Clean Life as a tool, it makes it super easy. So you can log into that Clean Life, say you're running a 3-week meal prep program for busy moms. You can log into that Clean Life, you can create 3 weeks worth of meal prep friendly programs, export those as PDFs, and now you have plans with recipes, with prep guides, with grocery lists that you can give to your participants that will walk them through your program every week. And you can run a really great group program on meal plans alone, just supporting people following those meal plans, giving them ideas for modifications when they need them, creating a community and something free like a Facebook group, a private Facebook group for people to hang out in and to get support, to connect with you and to connect with each other. So group programs are a really great thing you can do to scale your business, to see multiple clients at once instead of seeing clients one-on-one.
Yeah, and if you're more in the stage of your business where you're working on growing your audience and building your client base, or if you just want to like do something nice in your community right now, another great way to use that Clean Life is to run free challenges. So free challenge is kind of like a group program, but it's a little shorter, and obviously it's free versus being a way to like a revenue stream in your business. So free challenges are awesome because they give your potential clients a free preview of exactly what it's like to work with you and how awesome you are and how well you show up and serve your clients. So at the end of that challenge, when they're so impressed with you and they've had an amazing time over the last maybe 3 days, maybe 5 days, however the length of your challenge is, then you can let them know about your paid services and how they can continue working with you once they've already got a little momentum. That's the time when they're like most primed to buy. So you definitely want to hit them with an offer at the end of that. Don't run a free challenge without a plan to convert them. So an example of a free challenge you might want to run is like a 5-day healthy snacks at home challenge. So you could use that Clean Life to create just a recipe book with a bunch of different healthy snack ideas, maybe like 10 of them, and put together a Facebook group and start signing people up and committing to healthy snacking while they're working from home, healthy snacking for their kids. And in that Facebook group, you'll be having so much community support and photos being posted and everyone's connecting with each other. And it's a great way to build a community around your brand, which will have so much to do with your staying power as a brand too.
Yeah, and true story, one of our That Clean Life members, we have a whole case study on this on our blog, Katie, she actually started with That Clean Life. She created a lead magnet, which she used to grow her email list. Once she had grown her email list, she ran a free challenge for her community. And then at the end of that free 5-day challenge, she announced her paid group program. And she did really well with that first group program and has continued to do well with her business ever since. So that's just kind of a way you can see how it all ladders up. It kind of sounds weird saying you're going to get a return on your investment with a free challenge because you're like, well, it's free. But like Ashley said, that's a preview of what it's like to work with you. That's how you build trust. And at the end, when you have built that trust and when you have shown them how much value you can provide, you can talk to them about your paid services. And like Ashley said, again, they're primed and ready to buy at that point. Okay, next idea of another way you can use That Clean Life is to create content for an online workshop. So how many of you guys here are still kind of in lockdown or in quarantine? Let us know in the chat. And I'd also be interested to know how many of you guys before the pandemic hit were running in-person workshops. Also feel free to pop into the chat. I see a lot of you guys are still in quarantine. Okay, in lockdown. Yeah, so I don't want you to give up on your workshops because you can definitely take these online and people are looking for things to do at home. So this is another idea. You can create something like a cook once, eat healthy all week workshop where you come onto That Clean Life, you create a really simple meal plan of meal prep friendly meals. You host a workshop where you give them that meal plan and then you show them how to prep all their meals in say 2 hours, and you can do that together, give them the grocery list ahead of time and then walk them through that process. That would be amazing. I think I've said this before. I would pay for something like that, for somebody to just kind of hold my hand, tell me what I'm making, give me the list. And people who are at home are really looking for stuff like this right now. So don't sleep on this idea. It's a really good one. You can sell tickets to your workshop, even though it's online. You can do it on Eventbrite. You can promote your workshop on Facebook, across your social media channels, and you can do this up real big. The sky is really the limit because it's online. The whole world can join, right? So I really like that idea.
Yeah, I love that idea too. I've been attending a lot of online workshops. So I love when I see our community and our members putting those on, because I know there's a huge market for them right now. Okay, so another way that you can use that clean life, and that is especially relevant right now, is teaming up with other health professionals and fitness professionals too. So tons and tons of fitness professionals, like the whole fitness industry, just adjusted really well. As soon as this pandemic hit, I saw so many fitness professionals offering online workouts, online classes, online training sessions even, and partnering up with professionals like that who already have a client base and who have already adjusted really well to this whole new era of remote digital working and seeing your clients online is such a good call. So building partnerships and combining forces so that you're both bringing something awesome to the table and you're both winning. So they're providing the fitness component, you're providing the nutrition component, and together you're doubling the value of what you would be offering separately and getting exposed to each other's audiences. So an example of how this could look for a nutrition professional would be to partner up with a personal trainer who's providing, those virtual workout classes, and use that clean life to put together like weekly meal plans or hosting dedicated nutrition sessions for their members to help them get even more amazing results and provide a ton of value to their community, and vice versa. If you're a fitness professional right now and you are only offering workouts, but you also have nutrition training you've never put into use, you can partner up with yourself and double the value of what you're working on and what you're offering your clients.
Good idea. Partner with yourself. Okay. Next is to offer a weekly meal planning subscription service. So for those of you guys who are dreaming of having recurring revenue, to have that subscription kind of model built into your business, that Clean Life can definitely help with this, because if you were to create a meal planning subscription service without that Clean Life, you would be on the hook to create those meal plans and recipes every week, which totally is not sustainable. But once you have that Clean Life, you have a tool that can really help you streamline this process and be much more efficient, so you can offer something like this. And guys, again, I know we're talking about the pandemic and what's going on there, but people are at home. They're needing to cook 3 meals and snacks, even for their families right now. So now's a really good time to create something like a meal planning subscription service, to, alleviate that workload from whoever's doing the meal planning and cooking and shopping in the family. You can definitely help with that. And don't make it complicated. I know a lot of you guys get hung up on the technology with subscription sites, but you can absolutely have people just email you to subscribe, and you can send them the materials via email every week, until you get started, until you can get your actual membership site up and running. And I actually suggest that because that's a good way to validate that there's even enough demand for a subscription service, and it gives you kind of time to refine it before you invest really heavily in it.
Yes, I'm dropping a blog post into the chat because I saw a question from Sarah about how to present yourself to professionals to partner up with them. And we wrote a whole blog post about that, guys. So make sure that you check that out. And then the last thing that I want to talk about is at the beginning, Abigail mentioned our member Katie, who did the lead magnet, the free challenge, and then the group program. And we've talked about all of those things, so we haven't talked about lead magnets. So we'll finish there. So that's another awesome way that you can use that Clean Life, is to create a lead magnet. It's really simple. You just put together something awesome and valuable that you could charge money for, but you're not going to charge money for it. Okay, stay with me. And you're going to give that away for free-ish in exchange for an email address. So that's what we call a lead magnet, something that attracts potential clients to you. And once they've downloaded it, you have their email and you're able to let them know about fun things you have coming up, like a free challenge, for example. So to create this, all you have to do is go onto that Clean Life and decide what you're going to put together. So for example, you might want to do a low sugar smoothie recipe book, put together 3 to 5 low sugar smoothie recipes, and tweak the ingredients so that they fit with your population. And then just download it and offer it as a lead magnet in exchange for an email address. So you can pop that up on your website. You could create a custom landing page for it. If you go to that cleanlife.com/books, we have a whole lead magnet creation guide that you can check out, which will walk you through every single step of getting a lead magnet up and running. Creating it with that Clean Life is the easiest part of the process. That takes probably 5-10 minutes of your time. And if you do it right and promote it right, this can be a huge catalyst for growth in your business. So I definitely recommend using that Clean Life to create a lead magnet. If you're just getting started, or even if you've been plugging away for a while, but you haven't done it yet, do it.
Yeah, it's super easy, and there's no reason why you can't do it in a couple hours. Like I remember when we did the lead magnet creation workshop, I don't know whether it was a year ago or 2 years ago, people were putting like a week or 2 week timelines on creating their lead magnet, and there's no reason why you can't do it and, just carve out some time and get it done if you're a member of that Clean Life. So which of these ideas resonates with you guys the most? We talked about online workshops, paid programs, free challenges, creating your lead magnet, giving a freebie. Which of these ideas is really speaking to you right now? And which of these ideas is something that you can take action on right away? Let us know in the chat. And also for those of you guys who are already members of that Clean Life and, are using it in different ways, we'd love to know if there's any ways you're using it in your business that we didn't cover. So let us know that in the chat. And to wrap things up here, we're already over time, but real quick, I know some of you guys are wondering about pricing. What is the investment of that Clean Life? So Ashley is going to take you to the pricing page and go over our membership options.
Yeah, so it's easy to talk about this quickly because we make it really simple. So we have one membership, like Abigail mentioned earlier. It includes unlimited use of that Clean Life. So you can have as many clients as you want. You can make as many meal plans, run as many programs, launch as many lead magnets as you want, and we've got you covered. And with this one all-inclusive membership, you have 2 options for how you can pay. You can either pay for the year upfront, or you can pay for it monthly. So when you pay for the year upfront, you obviously get a little bit of a deal. So we give you 2 months totally free, but both options are totally available to you. Also, a bonus offer, which we haven't talked about in a little while, but I definitely want to make sure that everybody knows about this. For yearly members of that Clean Life, so in addition to the 2 months that you get for free, you also get access to our Nutrition Business Growth Accelerator. If your favorite part of this webinar was that second part where we took you through all the different ways you can use that Clean Life, we talked about group programs, we talked about lead magnets, you are going to love the Nutrition Business Growth Accelerator because we cover all of those topics really in depth, and we break it down over 3 weeks into, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, from getting up and running and building an email list and finding clients, all the way to scaling your business with membership sites and subscription services. And we give you homework each week depending on what your goals are, so that you know exactly what you're working on. Everything that we know about putting together everything from group programs to lead magnets to subscription sites, partnering with professionals, all the things we talked about today is in this course. So if any of those things resonated with you and you want to get started and you're not sure how, make sure that you take advantage of this, because when you sign up with our yearly membership, you get access to this 100% free. All yearly members get access to this for free. So if you're trying to make a decision, definitely keep that in mind.
Can you go over the monthly option too, Ashley? Somebody's asking, is it possible to pay monthly?
Oh, yeah. So you can pay $600 for the year or $60 for the month.
Cool. So just to be clear, there's both options available. The only difference is with Business Yearly, you save the cost of 2 months. You essentially get 2 months for free when you pay yearly, and you get access to the Business Growth Accelerator. So I think that covers pricing. Guys, I know we didn't get to all of your questions. They're still rolling in here, and I'm sorry about that. Like I said, we're here to help. You can email us, support@thatcleanlife.com, and we can get back to you via email if you have any outstanding questions. But for those of you guys who are members, I hope we fulfilled our promise and we taught you something new. Let us know in the chat box what you learned new before we go here. And for those of you guys who said interested at the beginning, I hope this gave you most of the information you needed to take that leap and join us. I saw Frankie popped into the chat and said that Clean Life has single-handedly given hours back to my weeks working with clients one-on-one, creating opt-ins, giveaways, challenge content, and loving it. So thank you, Frankie. That's a great way to cap off this. We're all about giving you those hours back and helping you really surprise and delight your clients so you can do your job of making this world a healthier place. And we're honored to be a part of your work. So thank you everybody so much for coming out today. Thanks, Ashley, for that full walkthrough. That was really awesome. And we hope to see you guys all inside of That Clean Life real soon. Bye, everyone.
Hi, guys.